Welcome to A Women's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode, we're challenging ourselves, our taste buds, and you, our listeners. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. Well, I feel like we've been talking about this a little bit.
Yeah, posted a few I posted across stuff like a few months ago and looked across stuff, and then obviously we have we talk about in our end of year, our quarterly reviews and our end of year reviews, the Drink Harder challenge. And so I just thought, like, we were going to talk about this. If you listened to last week's episode, we were going to talk about this, the tail end of last week. But then we were too busy talking about how many diffuser sticks to put into a diffuser. And
which is our best tangent ever.
Which is between 6 to 10, exactly, roughly, on average. But other than that, we didn't get a chance to actually circle all the way back around with everything else we were talking about. So we thought we'd give a whole episode to challenges. Yeah. So what are you drinking? We've had a day, so what are you drinking? Let's get right into the drinks.
So, one of my personal challenges this year, see we're being thematic, is I'm reading more. And when I finished a book, I want to pair it with a beer. So, today I finished a novella from the Mystic Bayou series by Molly Harper. It's a super cute series that I'm really enjoying. The characters are like, it's one of those books where you're just like, oh, I'm really glad that I get to hear from that character again. And it's about, if you're interested in reading it, it's a paranormal romancy job.
I'm still thinking about the book you told me about before we started recording. I really want to read it.
That might have to be a bonus episode.
Oh god, yeah, can we do a book club on that just for the lulz?
So paranormal romance. It's Mystic Bayou's in Louisiana. And there is a thing there called the Rift, and it's like mystical energy, and it draws mystical people, creatures to it. So in Mystic Bayou, it's like this town where there's all these people that have magical powers. But it turns out also that this rift is then affecting the humans that live there, and some of them just kind of spontaneously become magic.
I thought you were going to say spontaneously combust. I was like, well, that's not good. No. I'd much rather get spontaneous magic than fire.
Magic. And like some of them have magic, and some of them like are shifters. So, you know, there's like a bear shifter and a dragon shifter, and, you know, fun things like that. And the book that I finished today, there was a dryad in it. No, she wasn't a dryad, she was a tree nymph. So I started looking to see if there was like a beer that was kind of tree based, but actually I've been wanting to drink this beer for a while, and it's called Genetic Drift.
That's a fun name. I like that.
From Spatiation Artisan Ales. It's an American beer. It is a saison, and I thought, you know, genetic drift, because the genetics are changing or they're different. Drift kind of sounds like rift.
So yeah, it does. Oh, that's a good one.
I feel like this is the beer that I'm going to pair with the novella that I finished today, which was called Even Tree Nymphs Get the Blues.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's just a little short one, like addition to the series, but I really enjoyed it.
Nice. So I used to, when I was reading books, I would do like pairings with it after as well, like probably like last year, 2 years ago, and I just wasn't reading enough. So that's why I'd like take a photo and be like, look, I've done a pair. Like I'd pair it with, like, as I was reading it, I'd be like, I'll have this while I'm reading it, and then maybe like put a cheeky post up to be like, haha, having this beer, it goes with this book. And then I just wasn't reading enough, and it makes me sad, and I feel like that inspires me to want to do it again, but I've got so many books to read through that it's almost overwhelming. I know.
I'm telling you,
I know. I have the audio books. It's just then I find, because I do so much podcast that it just makes sense. But then I'm like, oh, but now I'm falling behind on some of these podcasts. Like I've got some really good proper murder mystery or like scam, like talking about scams and cults, and I'm like, but then I'm going to miss next week's episode if I just start listening to an audiobook. But no, I do need to get back into reading. But I'm going to start with that novella that we're not going to talk about, but that little novella.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
What are you drinking? Oh, we're choosing what you're drinking.
Well, we're going to choose what I'm drinking. So I have one of 6. So I'm going to just, if you're watching this video, I'm going to just really quickly got one of 6 beers lined up next to me. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just 6 different cans. I'm not even going to say what all of them are because I'll only read out what I pick. I've got a 6.
Ooh, 6-sided dice.
Yeah. I'm just going to roll it and see what I get. And then that's what I'm going to have.
That's
because I don't really have here's a challenge that I'm trying to kind of do here. The challenge is that I just got 6 of them. One of them, to be fair, potentially is past its BB. Like the date's not on it anymore, but I did get it quite a long time ago. So I thought, and it's a milk stout, so that's probably not the best. But I was like, might as well throw it in there because my challenge is to try to. I didn't really talk about this as much because I didn't want to set goals that I just wasn't going to achieve. But I really, in 2024 specifically, want to slim down my actual stock of what I've got in terms of beer.
Same.
Go through it, take stock of it, and start. I found so many that were past the best before day, and I'm still going to try drinking them. And obviously, as we said in last week's episode, we did talk about it. We did talk about it in last week's episode. I didn't make it officially a challenge of mine, but it is a personal challenge of mine. Is to stay on top of my beer stash and to get rid of all these things that are past their best before date, except for obviously ones I'm doing a vertical of or they're meant to be aged. But obviously, I'm not purposely trying to age a milk stout. No. So I thought I might.
Pro tip: don't do it. It doesn't really work.
No, it doesn't really do it. So I'm just hoping that it's not too far along that I can get away with drinking it. If this does come up for me, we'll find out. But yeah, let's just roll the die and see what I get.
I mean, as you know, I just want to say this is a safe space, no shame. We embrace you. We are here to help you.
I mean, I'm not trying to admit I've got a problem. I do have a problem, but whoa. It's not a problem. I don't look for problems. I look for solutions, and this is a solution.
It's not a problem. It's a collection.
It's a hobby. It's not a problem if it's a hobby. It's not problematic drinking if it's a hobby.
Drink responsibly, guys.
I've got a 4.
Oh, you got a 4. What's number 4?
Number 4 is
Paulina
Weiss beer.
Oh.
And I'm so glad because I literally before we started recording, I was like, "Oh, I need to get glassware." And I had gotten the stemmed glasses, but I was like, "Oh, there's some options here that may call for
a specific glass.
One of these bad boys." I was like, "Oh, I want this." This is my Sadler's Cattoberfest.
Oh.
So I was like, this feels appropriate. And I was like, just in case I get the Paulina. And I needed the podcast bottle opener. Yes. And there we go. I needed it.
Mine is also in a bottle. And I have a woman's brew. I have
the podcast. Except on my screen, you're on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the podcast, a woman's brew.
But I think this is the shot for the thing, don't you? Amazing.
And I don't want you to edit any of that out. That silence that just happened.
We're gonna keep it in,
just so people are like, "What the fuck?" We were just holding up our bottles, and our bottle openers. So yeah, let's pour this. I'm gonna get a cheeky picture of it, and then we can start talking about the Drink Harder challenge.
Let's. Oh, mine smells amazing. It's a Foda aged Solera saison too. It's fancy for a weeknight over here in my house.
I feel like I don't really need to tell people, but I feel like we've talked about Paulina a lot of times, especially Weiss beers. So,
oof. Look at this beaut, please. It's almost clear, masses of streaming carbonation bubbles, fat, foamy head. Smells amazing. Oh, that's proper fruity.
I got my beer out the weekend from Siren. So it was in their needing to get rid of fridge because I think they got this for Oktoberfest, and this was it was the last chance. They only had some bottles left. And I was like, kind of want one of those bad boys. Got that. Saw John at the tap yard. John's great. Love John. He was like, "Yeah, you can have that," and I was like, "No, I don't want to do that." And he's like, "I've got a lot of them, please." And I was like, "Oh, thank you," because I was like, "I want this." So happy days. So yeah, thanks, John. I'm very happy because now I'm drinking it on here, and Paulina makes me happy. So cheers.
Mine smells so fruity. So just out of interest for anybody, the bottle says Genetic Drift is an award-winning saison that incorporates wild cultures from the air to influence the flavour profile. This beer was brewed with Michigan-grown grain, dry hopped with Michigan-grown SARS and Centennial hops, and aged in a 1,000-gallon oak barrel called a Fuda. Each batch varies from the last, showcasing the shifting of our culture along with the seasonal changes of ingredients.
Would you say that right now you're quite cultured?
Yeah.
Oh. So speaking of the Fodas, well, when I was at the Sam Adams thing, I sent you the picture, didn't I? They had these massive Fodas, and it made me look like I know that I'm short, but it made me look really fucking short. Like it was,
yeah.
It was these huge Fodas, and I was just like, my sister was like, "Do you want a photo in front of them?" And I was like, "No, I'll just take a photo of them." And I was like, "Actually,
no, you need a picture
for scale.
Come on, yeah."
Can I have a photo in front of it? And she was like, "Yeah, you can." And it's just me looking even more short in front of these huge photos. It was great. It was super cool.
This is delicious. Can I just say? It's
I think
super fruity.
It's already clear that mine is just Again, I feel like I don't have to say words for the Polena. Like we just had it. I've talked about it. Love it. So just carry on.
Oh, I'm so glad I picked this one tonight. That's make me happy. Right, so
Drinks Harder Challenge 2024.
Drink Harder Challenge. So, as you may remember, dear listeners, we took part in Katie's Beer School's Drink Harder Challenge last year, and we updated you on it every quarter. See how we're done. They have done a new one for 2024. Arguably, I think ones in this one are harder.
Well, so I've got them all noted down, and I've got down like what's actually changed, what's the same, and what's like a slight tweak. Okay. So I've got it all noted down there if we want to start going through and talking about it. So we can talk through what the challenges are. Again, there is 24. There was 24 last year, I believe, and there's 24 again this year. And they've taken kind of like some similar ones as well, but like kind of turned it on its head a bit. And I think when we were discussing offline before, we were saying actually like if you had done last year's, it's quite a nice little step up from last year's of like a slight more challenge. Because what I like about these challenges, the whole reason I like doing these challenges, whether it's a Drink Harder challenge or just, you know, creating our own challenges, I quite like that it kind of encourages you to go out there and get a little bit more adventurous, or it kind of almost makes you maybe try something you wouldn't have tried before, or like when you can't be bothered some days, if you're like, oh, well, we could go do this, and that's a bit of inspiration, it kind of gives you the motivation some days. You're like, oh, let's go out and do this thing and be adventurous. It doesn't have to all be about beer. You don't even have to get some of these. You don't even have to get like proper alcoholic beer or anything, but it's just get out there and do something different that you maybe wouldn't have done. And I think you were saying that you were like, oh, if you had seen some of the challenges this year, you might, as your first year, you might be like, oh, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, I feel like I've been like, oh, I don't know if that's as good as because it's building on what we did last year. So obviously they've wanted to make it different to what last year's one was, because they're trying to build on the people they've had. I think if I'd have seen this one first, I might have been like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. But there's some good stuff on there. I made a little note when I was writing down some possible challenges of our own today, and one of the notes that I wrote down was that I think these challenges, they need to be fun.
Yeah,
they need to be not too difficult that you can't complete them. Like it should be so hard that you're like, oh, like it's a beer that you're never going to be able to get or something like that. Because I think some of the ones that we didn't complete last year were because it was
awards and stuff like that.
Because it's like Katie's Beer School's in the US, so there's a focus on that, obviously. So that made some things slightly more difficult. But also it should expand your drinking horizons. That's like why it's great to challenge yourself. So that was my little note about our ones as well.
I quite like, so I'll talk more about kind of like our side of things when we get to that, but what's really funny is some of the ones, I want to caveat this now, some of the ones that I noted down as things that I thought would be a fun challenge are stuff that are similar or like on Katie's bit.
Yeah, like, yeah, definitely.
And I was like, literally, I was like, I wrote this. I was like, I literally wrote this, and I just want to be really clear that when we talk about the challenges we were talking about, it is not necessarily stuff that I pulled from this, because I had written these challenges down like when we first started talking about this months ago, getting prepped for like the new year, and hadn't even seen this. We only saw this last week.
Yeah, I only found it last week.
And I was like, oh shit, like now it's going to look like I copied this, but I didn't.
And I think, like, so last year they definitely promoted it on Instagram. And I think this year, because it is also about, because it's Katie's Beer School is a bar, I believe. And so they have people come in and do bottle shares, and so they're like the Katie's Beer School people. I think they've not shared it so much on Instagram because it's more for those people that have gone all the way through the first one and now frequenting the thing, which is why as well I think some of them are a bit more specific as well this year. Yeah, it's interesting. Let's go through it.
Yeah, I think what was the one thing I will say as we're about to go through it is like what I liked was there's almost kind of, and what we can relate to is when they say, so there's a few of them where it's like has to do with a bar. We could translate that to a pub as well. Yeah. I think that's really good because it almost promotes not just the beer culture itself, but some of these businesses. But yeah. So the first one that's on it is drink a beer that has been in your fridge the longest. So that one I think was on last year's list. I've made the note properly. Yeah, that is on last year's list. I quite like this one because I think it's nice because it almost helps you find that reason. Like if you've been hanging on to a beer for quite a long time, you may be like, oh, now I'm just waiting. Now I've held on to it for so long. Now there's too much pressure and I have to find the right moment to drink it. Yeah. And maybe this is your sign to drink that beer. Yeah. If that's all I've got for that one. Anything else to add to that?
No, I think that, so it was interesting going through that. I think that was the first one off the list just last year that I completed because I was like, oh, I know exactly which beer that is.
We did that. I did that in one of our episodes, one of our first episodes. But I think the only thing that I'd find a challenge is now I find that I have got more beers for verticals and for aging. And I think that might be where the challenge comes. Like if the oldest bottle I have is something I'm saving for something specific, it's those technicalities. And I think like I kind of like the challenge aspect of it. So I don't want to be like, I think once you start making excuses, if you go, or like exceptions and caveats, you're like, oh, the longest one you've had in your fridge, but then one that's not meant for aging or not meant for this, then that kind of is just like, well, you can do caveats for anything. So I try not to do caveats. And I think that is actually what makes it a challenge is like, if you've got one that you're aging or waiting for the right moment, like, can you complete that? So I guess we'll see. Number 2 is drink a lineup where each beer starts with the letter from the name of your home state until you can spell it out. I think for me, obviously I can do this. I'll do my home state. I think potentially for anyone that wants to play along with this that are in the UK, I'd argue maybe just do the name of your county.
Yeah.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah, mine's really short though. Some people's are really long.
I know you do have it really easy. So I feel like you should have to up your challenge. Like do Florida because you stayed in Florida once. There you go.
Because I stayed in Florida.
Yeah, because you did a study abroad in Florida. You do Florida. That's your thing now, I think.
Fine.
I've got. Oh, don't complain. I've got fucking Massachusetts. The only one worse than bloody Mississippi. That's the only one arguably that would fucking be worse. So I'm not being funny. You got it. Kent. Do I feel bad? No. I think to be fair, and I'll make it harder for me because I love a challenge for me. If I manage to do all of Massachusetts, I'll also do Berkshire. I'll do both. I will do both my county and my state. So there we go. But yeah, that one's new. I think obviously last year we had somewhere it was like, I think last year's it was like drink it so that spelled out your name.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if I go through it all again and I do Massachusetts and I do Berkshire with the beer, then I'll go back and do breweries again because that's what I did last year and I managed to do it all. So stretch goals. Enjoy a happy hour special is number 3. What are your thoughts on that one?
I feel like that could be difficult.
We don't really get as many happy hours. At least I think that tends to be like more like chain restaurants or something like that. And happy hours are like really difficult. Like, if you lived in London, I feel like you'd be able to pull this off because you could easily be like, nip in and get a happy hour.
Yeah.
Although saying that, I did do a happy hour. Technically, I have done that this year because it was like 2 for 1 at Turtle Bay when I was up in Derby, and there's a Turtle Bay like right by my office. So we went in there after work. And I got 2 for it's like 2 for 1 on cocktails, but you have to get the same. Well, the way they really fuck you over with it is they're like, oh, you have to get 2 of the exact same cocktails.
Oh, okay.
And you're like, but I want to try 2 different ones. But that's how they make it so that you you can't really do splitsies with someone.
Yeah.
They'd lose so much money if they were like two of whatever cocktails you want. So
Right.
it's 2 of the exact same cocktail. So we were just like buddying up. We're like, who wants this one as well? Okay.
Yeah, you're doing swapsy.
So
yeah.
I guess technically I've done that this year, but I will be fair. And what I'll say is this is obviously the end of Jan that we're starting this. I'm going to take it from anything that I'm ticking off from this episode onward. I'm not going to count anything that was done before this episode because I feel like
yeah, because we haven't started yet, really.
It's not been trying it. I've just been doing it by accident. But but yeah, I think that one's quite hard.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be really hard. I mean, I had enough trouble. I didn't do the cheapest and most expensive on the menu last year. Like, I don't think I go to enough places that do that sort of thing, or when I go places, it's usually for work, and then I'm not necessarily spending money.
Yeah, but that's like you could still take advantage of happy hour.
Possibly, yeah.
It's even better because it's happy hour where you can get 2 of the same cocktails, and who cares?
But we've got to be going to somewhere that does that. Like, often
true.
I'm very targeted of where I'm going for those things. So difficult. I think that one will be very difficult.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I do it, it'll be because I'm out with people that are not beer drinking people. I happen to be at a restaurant. I happen to be going somewhere. So I guess we'll see about that one. Number 4, attend or host a beer share that isn't Katie's beer school, which I guess is good because if it was attend Katie's beer school, we'd be like, well, I guess we're not on this one.
Yeah.
I guess that's newish because last year they had host a themed share with friends. So, and my personal goal was to attend more bottle shares. So last year this was already on my radar. I think this should be, if it's attend or host and it's like 1, I think that'll be fairly easy for me and definitely easy for you because you have your homebrew group and stuff. So
well, I don't get to them anymore because I don't have the time. So it's more difficult for me.
But then I feel like because of your work puts you in an environment where there's more natural bottle shares that you go to.
Yeah, I suppose we kind of do air quotes bottle shares without really thinking about it.
Yeah, I've definitely got some on my radar, both with friends and what I know is out there from a business perspective. So I think this one will be easy for me. Number 5, bring a friend to a bar they've never been to. So this one's a bit different because last year it was bring them to a brewery they've never been to, and this year is bring them to a bar they've never been to. I think this might be quite hard for me because I don't go to a lot of bars anymore. If I'm going to do it, it's going to be when I'm in Bristol with work people and they've not gone someplace I've gone, and I'm going to be like, come to this bar. But what do you get? Are you going to be able to do it? I think
I'll struggle to do that because I think I've taken anyone that would be with me, I've taken to those places already. I'll be with you. How am I going to take you to a bar you've never been to?
You might do.
I suppose I might do.
We might get to go somewhere.
Does it count? Right. Does it count if we take each other to Echo's tap room?
No, because it's not tap room. It's not brewery. It's got to be a bar.
Oh, a bar. It's got to be
bar. Because I think that if we're
gonna
be
a bar,
no, because I think that's way too easy. Let's be real. If it says bring a friend to a bar they've never been to, I feel like a tap room. Well, yes, it is a bar. That is very specific. For a brewery, what makes that different than go to a brewery? That is such a thin line that I feel like that is way too easy. Do you want to be
very specific on this then?
But I feel like if we're going to make it a challenge, let's make it a challenge. Okay. And that is a challenge. Go to a bar is a challenge.
Yeah, that makes it really hard.
I would say we can replace bar with pub.
Okay. I mean, I still think that makes it really hard.
Yeah, no, it's still hard, but it's slightly easier because think of when we've gone to places like Sheffield, we'd be like, oh, let's go to the Rutland or something like that. To me, I'd be like, that's a bar. as opposed to like I'm going to the tap room of a brewery, because that feels like then I just lump that. Because would you, if you said we're going to Echo, because it doesn't say it has to be to one you've ever been to, it just says bring a friend to a bar they've never been to. So in theory, yes. But if this was reworded and it was bring a friend to a brewery they've not been to, would you say the same? Would you go Echo counts, or would you go it doesn't count because it's a tap room?
No, because it's their brewery.
Exactly. So that doesn't count as a bar.
But it is. It's a brewery and a bar. Does they have a bar at the brewery?
I feel like if you could describe it as a brewery, if you would describe it as a brewery, it would not count.
Okay, so we're specifically non-brewery bars.
Yes, I think so. Like, I'm making a note. I think the exception, to be fair, I think the exception to that would be like if you went to Good Chemistry's, like the Good Measure, because that's a pub. It's owned by it's physically owned by like a brewery, but it's not like a tap. Like if you went to their brewery to drink, I'd be like, yeah, it doesn't count. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. I feel like you're still like suspicious. You're like sus.
I'm not suspicious. I just
press F to doubt.
Making it particularly, you're making it difficult.
Well, we can do our challenges different. You can just go to a brewery.
No, because we end up having to approve each other's ones.
No, so I'm willing to say that we can differentiate on this one. Okay. Listeners, weigh in. If you think that a brewery tap room counts, let Joe know.
Let us know.
We'll let the listeners speak.
Okay.
For us. You rule if you think someplace like Echo's tap room counts.
Yeah.
Or if you would say, is that a brewery? Is that a bar? Or is that both and it counts? Or do you think it has to be specifically a bar/pub? Weigh in.
Let us know.
Let us know.
A womensbrewpodcast@gmail.com.
Or Instagram. That's probably quicker. First, can you imagine like someone's typing out a whole email just so they can be like, agree or disagree? Echo doesn't count. Number 6, go out and order a mocktail or a non-alcohol beer for yourself. I think that's a real challenge.
Do you think so?
I think so. Because if I'm going out normally with the sole purpose of drinking. I don't normally go out with the sole purpose of not drinking. And for me, that's just like when we went to a hoppy place and you got Rain in the Blood, like you were driving and it was like, yeah, okay. And that was amazing. That mash gang beer was amazing. Yeah, it was so amazing. But like I wouldn't gravitate towards, if I'm going out, I'm normally drinking water. If I'm driving, a water, a soda. I'm not normally drinking an alcohol-free version of something.
See, I think this would be quite easy for me because there are times when I go out after work. My office is an hour and a half away from my house. So I will go out, but I'll probably still be driving. So I will get a mocktail or a non-alcoholic beer. And because we go to places where they have those. So I think that's going to be quite easy for me.
I think it's more difficult. It's more of a challenge for me, not because I wouldn't go to someplace that has them, but probably more because it wouldn't be what I chose. Which is, I think, exactly, to be honest, this is exactly what I like about these challenges, is like it's making me consciously be like, if I, as a completionist, if I want to tick that box and I want to say I've done all the things, I'm going to have to consciously choose to try something that I wouldn't normally have. So there we go. Number 7, which is drink 10 different fruits, 1 counts per beer. So this is kind of newish because last year it was just drink a beer from 10 different countries. And I thought that was like relatively easy. Smash that. The drink 10 different, I think it was easy because also when you live in the UK, you've already got like 3 countries super accessible. And many more close by. So like already we're like tick tick tick, that's easy. But I think the drink 10 different fruits might be a challenge.
Oh, I like this one. I saw this and I was like, yes, I really want to do that because I love me a fruit beer. I think also it says that only 1 counts per beer, so you've got to like really look at what fruits are in that beer. I mean, I had one at the weekend that was passion fruit, guava and banana. So you'd have to just pick one of those.
I'd choose the banana because I think that would be the more difficult.
I think banana would be more difficult.
Like guava and passion fruit, you're like, yeah, cool, can do that again.
Banana,
can do that
exactly.
Again.
I was like, that would have been my banana. Like, pick banana out of that. You've got to be strategic about which fruit you're picking out of the beer. I like this one a lot.
That's what I had literally had the exact same thoughts as you. As I was like, what I quite like about this one is you have to be strategic with it, because if you keep being like the same ones and it's like apricot, peach, passion fruit,
right,
guava, grapefruit. It's like, okay, well, you're going to really struggle potentially to find something that's like,
and it's got to be, I think it's got to have the fruit in it rather than a hop
having tasting notes.
Flavor.
Yeah.
It's got to actually have that fruit in it. And you can stretch this as well. Once you've done 10, you're like, okay, let's go find some other weird fruits.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's go find dragon fruit.
I think that's exactly. I mean, as I normally do. Never even heard of that. Would you count?
Used to do a really good one with calamansi in. Ooh.
Would you count, like, just so I know how you would do this? If we've got like different oranges, if we're like, this one's got a Valencian orange, and this one has a blood orange, and this one has like a navel orange, like would you be like, they all count, or tangerine?
I think you can count orange, blood orange, tangerine, nectarine as separate ones, but I think orange and Seville orange, because that's just somewhere different that it's been grown. I don't think that counts.
Fine, but like physical different like variety, like a blood orange, very different. Like taste wise is just in
and
look
tangerine and orange taste different, and nectarine tastes different. Like or not satsuma so much.
Well, yeah, but how often do you like? Oh, this one's a satsuma.
I've had a beer with satsuma in it.
Yeah, that's not a common occurrence. Like that's not a common occurrence. If you're like, well, there's going to be so many satsumas. Right? That is the point. And I do like this one, and I obviously, as usual, I will do like once I get to that number, I'll be like, cool, I've done it, but actually I like to still keep counting because I think it's just fun to keep track of. Number 8, drink an award-winning beer from another country, and that's obviously newish because last year it was focused around US awards. What I will say about this one is I made a note that said it's nice to see inclusion out of the US this time, but also equally makes it more challenging for us.
Right, because we had so much trouble anyway. like
last year we were like, I feel like I know that she's not like specifically done it because of anything that we've said, but I feel like it's that thing of the like, oh, we're out there, we're listening, we heard your feedback, and we heard that it was so difficult to get Fobab beers, so let's make sure we include from other countries. And now we're like, no, we want it to be the same country.
But I think we can assume that when we say from another country, another from the other than the US, I think
that's what it.
So it could be an award-winning. No, it could be a CEBA award-winning beer from here.
Oh, see, I read that as drink an award-winning beer from another country other than where you're based.
No, but I think because this is based in America, I would take that as it can be because we didn't do it last year either because we couldn't decide on it. No, I think we're safe to say that we could. It's another country from last year because last year's was American award-winning ones. I think you could argue that you could still drink a UK awarded beer.
I think I would accept that argument. I'm going to follow it as from another country that I'm not in. Fine. But what I like about it, you don't have to do that. I'm not putting that because I actually agree. I think I could see that argument. For me, I'm going to do it based on another country. But what I think is probably a lot easier this time than last year is like last year, it was really specific where it was like Fobab or the other one that I can't remember because Fobab's the only one that sticks in my mind.
American Beer Festival.
Yeah, fine. GABF and Fobab. And those, it was like specifically one of those two. So it's like, it didn't matter if you found an award, like another award winning one. And the reason we struggled was because we were like, what's the equivalent of that here? And we didn't really have
we never
that same quite equivalent. And then we never actually decided, well, this is going to be the equivalent. So that's why, I didn't do it. Whereas now it's a little bit more open to interpretation, which is just like find. It says award winning. That could be like the Great Taste Awards of where, like, it's not like it has to be, it's not saying it has to be a specific award or a specific level of award. It's just like, oh, cool. Like, it's fucking Audi special on the great, like, the Audi Awards. And you're like, cool. And it's come from another country. Cool. Fab. Like, I think that'll be a lot easier to do, but still also present enough of a challenge that you have to consciously think about it.
Yeah.
Number 9, go to a brewery and write about the experience for a blog. I am going to fail this because I know that I take the photos, I take the notes, I do all the groundwork, I do all the research, everything. And then it comes time to write it and it doesn't happen. And then too much time passes and it's too late.
Well, I've set myself 24 in 24 blog posts, so I can definitely do this.
I'm confident you will, to be fair. Number 10, cook a savoury dish and bake a sweet dish with beer. And this was new because last year it was just add it in as part of a recipe. Yeah. This is like very specific. Do a savoury and a sweet dish with a beer.
So I think it's interesting because you'd already said to me before we saw this that you wanted to do one where it was cook a 3-course meal with different beers in it.
I did. That's one that I wrote down. So at least you can vouch for the fact. Yeah, like, I'm so happy.
We had this conversation prior to seeing
So this. I have written my challenges down someplace in a separate OneDrive that you don't have access to. So the fact, and you've not read this, we've not talked. No, I'm just saying, because sometimes I'm like, if it's a fun fact that I really want to like get you with. Or like when I did the Oregon Trail stories, when I did the Choose Your Own Adventure, I was like, I can't be having you read the Choose Your Own Adventure because then you choose the different adventure. So I've got it in a separate like section, but obviously we spoke about it, so you clearly remember that I said it. You've not read that before, so thank you for vouching for me, and so that no one thinks I've just ripped this off.
You did not. We talked about this already. Your beer bestie is here to back you up. I got
thanks. You. But yeah, I think this will definitely be a challenge for me, not because I'm uncomfortable, like, but would you take this as like you have to make the dish with the same beer? Or two separate dishes, do you think?
2 separate dishes.
I feel like I could do this because it's like easily like barbecue. I tend to use beer. Yeah. All right, we'll see. We'll see how we get on. It'll just be if I remember.
I've got some recipes.
For me, it's just like, will I remember to do it? It'll probably get to the end of the year and I'll go, shit, I didn't do that. Bread pudding, chocolate bread pudding. Come on.
There you go.
That's my go-to if I need to do a pudding. Number 11, get a beer and a sidecar / bomb at a dive bar. So I guess for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's like, think about your porn star martinis where you have like that shot of espresso, not shot of espresso, this shot of Prosecco with it, or Jaeger bomb where it's the Jägermeister and Red Bull, and when I smell Red Bull, that's all I think of, and it just smells like regrets, and it just makes me feel. No one ever sets out in life to do a Jaeger bomb. Like, I'm going to make that clear. Like, I feel like no one sets out wanting to do that. Someone goes, I'm going to go to the bar and get us all Jaeger bombs, and then you go, no, absolutely not, don't want it, and they're like, no, it'll be fun, and you're like, it will not be fun. I do not want it. And then they come back with a whole tray, and they're like, Jaeger bombs for everybody. And you're like, just give it to me, whatever. No. And it's that you don't want to do it, but you're like, fine.
This is how I end up with shots of someone going, oh, it's rum, and then it's not, it's Jaffa Cake gin.
No, that is not the one. Oh my God, I ate a chocolate orange biscuit today by mistake because I didn't know what I was doing.
How did you eat a chocolate orange biscuit?
Somebody brought, that just traumatized me, you saying Jaffa Cake. Someone brought in these like thing of biscuits, and some of them were like chocolate colour. It's like one of those like collection boxes. Yeah. Selection box, sort of, yeah. Something like that. It was like Victoria something, I don't know. And there's a lot of them are like biscuits and then covered with chocolate and everything. And there's one that was like wrapped in gold. And I was like, wrapped in gold? This one must be good. There's only one left.
Oh my God.
And I was like, have that one.
Magpie / dragon.
Yeah. I was like, this is great. Let's take this back. You just fly it back to my little desk nest, and literally, I'm talking to someone from work, like having a conversation. I was like, I'm gonna peel this one back, and she's talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, and I take a bite out of it, and I went, oh no, and she's like, what? And she also shares in the hatred of chocolate orange, and I was like, oh no, and she's like, what? And I was like, I think it's chocolate orange. And then the more I ate it, I was like, ugh. And I went, I just have to throw this away. I can't give this to anyone in good consciousness. Like that, that makes me feel bad, even knowing I would give that to someone. I was like, just wrap it back up and put it in the bin. And she was like, oh, that's not good. I was like, no. I was really sad. Times. That's how I ended my day as well.
Oh no,
I know,
terrible.
The worst end to the day. But sidecar, basically, that's what a sidecar or a bomb is. How hard do you think it'll be for you?
I mean, hi Tom. If Tom's listening, he's going to make me do this the next time we're out somewhere. Probably when we're in Sheffield.
See, I don't have anyone that's problematic like that.
You heard it here first, Tom.
Sorry, Tom. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. But I don't have anyone that, like, as I said, sometimes people just go, here's the egg bomb. But I feel like that part of my life is beyond me. So I don't really, because I don't take myself out to those places anymore. Like, right. I don't go to Purple Turtle in Reading at like 1 a.m. anymore. So I don't. The likelihood of me doing this is hard. It does say it's specifically got to be a dive
bar as well, actually. So,
yeah.
So that's going to be doing it anyway. You got to do it at a dive bar.
That's going to be really hard. Because like, if I just wanted to complete it, I could do it at my house. But that doesn't count because it's not a dive bar. What if I make it like dive? Just won't clean for like a few weeks.
Does not count. Does not count.
Well,
we had this conversation about dive bars last time.
I actually legitimately went to a dive bar and you were like, I don't know if that counts. And I was like, you're just mad because I had a Guinness. Like, that is not like Guinness. It still counted. All it said was, have a beer. That is a sign on the wall.
It's fine. I redeemed us and I took the hit with the PBR.
God, I literally, my origin story is PBR. So just don't even. Oh.
Amazing.
Anyways, number 12. Drink 5 beers, each featuring one of the 5 American hops. So that's Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, Chinook, and Citra. So
like
that's newish, because last year it was different hops from different countries. Like, there was 5 different countries, and it was hops from all those 5 different countries, whereas this is all American-based. I think it'll be, especially Citra, like, you probably have one before the end of today that's got a Citra in it, feels like. The others may be a little bit more challenging. No, maybe not challenging, but I think it will just be hard if we're trying to do it in different beers.
You're going to have to think about it, I think, and have a look. Like, you're going to have to like do a little bit of research.
I think we'll just find like the similar ones over and over again. And, normally this wouldn't be a challenge, but because this is now on a challenge list, and because our taste and what we drink and everything has maybe slightly changed as well, I think it's going to be more of a challenge, like, especially with what I'm drinking today. But yeah.
13. I like that one. I feel like I would like to expand on that with some others, but I haven't decided what. There's a lot you can do with hops.
Okay. I'll be interested to see how you expand on it.
I haven't,
because maybe I'll adopt it. We'll see. 13 is play a movie drinking game. That one's new. I'm not gonna lie, that one's gonna be hard because I don't. What I find difficult about those is how you how do you reference the rules as you're. Sometimes it's really hard if it's not obvious, and then they'll be like, here's the 30 rules for the drinking game about this movie.
I hate it when it's loads. Like, I think it needs to be really simple.
Like, give me 5.
Like, we did it for Eurovision, and it was like, if somebody cries when Graham says something snarky, like there was a nice short one for Eurovision, and that got you hammered good and proper.
It needs to fit on like a small thing, but even then it's got to be something that's easy to remember, and I feel like a lot of these movie drinking games are not easy to remember.
There's a really good Christmas one, actually.
Did you put the hat in the corner?
Well, you put the hat in the corner.
Yeah, and every time someone's wearing it. Yeah, okay, that's it.
That's a good one.
That's got to be a good one. Or like Halloween, a little like witch hat.
We could do a little witch's hat, and if they become a witch, if they become a witch, then you got to drink. I think. Oh, I like
that. That is a good one. Okay,
we should definitely do that.
We've just gamed the system. I like that because it doesn't say like it just says a drinking game. Yeah, let's do that one.
Yeah.
14. Ask for a recommendation from a bartender and drink it. That's new. That's easy. I do that regularly.
Easy, yeah.
I literally do that.
Yeah.
I think I did that about 2 weeks ago. So 15. Buy someone a drink for their birthday. So that was on last year's list. You didn't do this last year.
I didn't manage to do it last year.
I did it for your birthday.
When it was their birthday. You did, but I wasn't around for your birthday. I was working.
I know. It's rude.
16. Maybe this year.
This could be the year. We'll see.
This could be the year.
We'll see. I'll just feel unloved again, but it's fine. 16. Visit a winery. So last year it was a distillery. This year it's a winery. That could be fun.
It could be fun.
I've been to wineries, but we just don't have a lot. I've gone to one in Wales that was really, really good. And I know that there are some now in Wales. Like, Wales has some that are sprouting up. There's definitely some here, but
we have some here in Kent.
It's just like a mish to plan that kind of thing, isn't it?
Maybe you need to come here and we'll go to a Kent one.
Okay, let's do that. That sounds like a
Okay.
good deal. 17, have a beer at 10 different breweries. So again, last year it was just
10 different breweries.
10 countries versus breweries was last year's again, so.
Like, have a beer at 10 different breweries, so you've got to go to the brewery and have the 10 beers?
Yeah, I think so. Can we count our, like, regulars, though, as one? Like, so when I go to Elusive, that clearly counts as one. When I go to Siren, that clearly counts as one. But then obviously I just can't repeat
count
that.
It once.
Yeah.
You can only count it once.
That's fine. I think in an entire year,
I think it's doable.
I could do this.
Yeah, I think it's doable.
I think if this is another one where if it's like the tap room of a brewery, unless the brewery's actually there, I don't know if that like counts.
Yeah, no, I think that it's got to be, you've got to be going to the brewery. Like,
it's got to be metal. It's got to be kit.
Yeah, there's got to be kit and tanks. Like,
if you don't see a tank, if there's no shiny shinies, it doesn't count.
No. Yeah, there's got to be shinies.
Like Pokemon, you need the ones with the shinies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think you'll be able to? I think I'll be able to do that.
I think so.
In a whole year.
I think so. Yeah.
18. Drink a beer mosa or beer bloody / Michelada before 11 a.m. Now that I feel like will take effort before 11.
Before 11. Like, I could probably drink a beer mosa, but before 11 a.m. I did do a mimosa flight.
I almost
before 11 a.m.
I almost
It wasn't a beer one though.
I almost did a mimosa flight, but you couldn't get it before 11 because I think they would only sell it from like 12 o'clock onward, and I was like, oh. Drama. Where are we? 19, attend an event at a brewery. So again, I'm only counting it from this episode onward because I was at an event at a brewery on the weekend.
That doesn't count.
But it doesn't count because I'm only counting it from this point onward. So,
I think that's probably doable.
I think that's doable. Especially if we're counting it where it's an event on Facebook, like a Facebook event page is created, but it doesn't necessarily mean there's got to be lots of like bells and whistles.
Because I was going to say, what do we count as, what are our parameters on an event?
Would a beer launch count, or does it have to physically be like something where there's involvement by somebody running something? I don't know. I'm happy to take your lead on this.
Well, I don't know, because this could be easy for me because, you know, an event at a brewery, does an event mean like a collaboration brew? Because...
No, I think it has to be like a hosted, open to the public.
It's got to be a public one.
Open to the public.
International Women's Collaboration.
That would count.
Open to the public.
I would say that counts, but what I would say is for you, to be fair, you have to say so you're not there in a work capacity.
Okay. Oh, I have to not be there in a work capacity.
That's not
really
fair.
Limits me, though.
Because that's not fair.
A lot of the events that I go to, like a lot of the events that I do are that when I go to a brewery. When I have the time to go to a brewery, is a work thing.
That's the challenge, though, isn't it? Is to get out there when it's
that
not.
Makes that even more hard for me. That's doubly hard.
I feel like if it was to be one that you were doing during working, like you obviously would smash that 10, 20 times over. So that's it. You cannot have it as a work capacity. Like it's if you're someplace for a work event and you go to another event not in a work capacity, fine, fair game. Doesn't matter if you're in that particular area for a work thing. I think you just can't be at that specific brewery for a work thing that you are running or have any involvement in or whatever, because that would be way too easy for you. You've got to level the playing field.
Fine.
Oh, this one's your favourite one, number 20. It was on last year's. Drink a whiskey drink, a vodka drink, a lager drink, and a cider drink in one sitting. Bonus points if you do it in order.
This is just going to give the guys at work more fuel to get me to do this.
There we go. I'm just trying to do it again. Number 21. I really like this one, actually. Drink a stout barrel-aged. I thought it was good. So drink a stout barrel-aged between 0 to 12 months, 13 to 24 months, and 25 plus months. I think that's fun. The 25 plus would be hard as hell.
Right. I think that's really hard. I think you've got to do some research into that. Like, you've got to put some proper effort into that.
I reckon 1 to 12 and 13 to 24 is doable, like with some planning, but not like stupid amounts. But the 25 plus, I think that is going to be, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, I think so. Fun though.
Fun. I think this one might be my favourite one, to be fair. Especially because, like, usually when you have stuff like that, it's either in one big sharing bottle or like something teeny tiny. So like you either want to hold on to it because it's not very big, or it's hard to get, or it's like such limited edition, or it's such a big off bottle that you're like,
maybe
I
this
need to
is
share
an
it.
opportunity to go through the stash and see how long they were barrel aged for.
True.
And maybe that ticks off some of them from what's in the stash.
Yeah, true. But then some of the ones in the stash, I feel like are
in your naughty
stupidly old, like stupidly big, and just we'll see. Number 22, order a flight of beers that are all different colours. I feel like that one's fun.
Yeah, I love
Last year it was just get a flight. This year it's get a flight of different colours.
Get a flight from a brewery that you've never been to before.
Yeah.
That's why it was hard.
Well, yeah, but then also I just feel like I like this dimension of the colours.
I love it. I'm down for it. I would do it over and over.
Number 23, tip the bill for your drinks and make someone's day. So basically tip 100%. I think that's going to be really hard over here because people...
Yeah, because they're going to be like, what are you doing?
I remember when I first moved here and Rick and I went out. We went to Las Iguanas and I liked their sangria. Got a bottle of sangria and I think it came to like whatever. I want to say it came to like £14 or something. And I had a $20 bill and I was like, pay the 20. And they gave me back like change, and it was like about £5 and a bit, and I think I just like left the £5 and
did they
the
come
ones on there
you?
No, Rick was like no. Like he was like, sweetie, no. And he was like, that is real money, like he was like, we don't do that. And I was like, but you have to
a real wage.
I was like, but you have to tip them, and he was like, yeah, not like that though. And it was like the type of service it wasn't. If it was
really good service, they get £2.
but it wasn't like the type of service that you pay. Like we don't over here. You don't go up to the bar, order something, and then like tip at the bar. It wasn't like table service or anything like that. So he was like, no. And this was like a decade ago where you really like didn't. So yeah, I feel like I've just become conditioned to people are just going to look at me weird if I'm like, oh, the drink's £10. Here's 20. Keep the change. I mean, I'm sure it will make their day, but
you're mad. Take it back. Yeah.
What is wrong with you? So my dad tipped like really high once we were in London, and the lady did, because he didn't know, he was tipping by like US standards, and just being like a little extra would be nice, because he was like, oh, it's really nice, really good service. She came back over and she was like, oh, sir, like you don't no, you don't have to tip, like she was like, no, we don't tip like that here. And she actually was like, are you sure you wanted to tip that? And he's like, no, I'm sure. And she's like, are you sure? And she was really, really appreciative, but she like tried to tell him like 2 or 3 times, like, are you sure? Is that correct? And he was like, yeah. Number 24, the last and final, which is make a 5-ingredient beer cocktail, and all the garnishes together count as one total. So that's an interesting one, because I feel like actually the more ingredients you put into a beer cocktail, almost that's harder than just...
I think that is hard, because...
putting rum in or vodka.
Right, and you're going to start losing the beer when you start doing that. So, but I also did want to like kind of look at more cocktails this year, so I think that'd be a fun one.
Yeah, I had that on my list as well, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Well, I also liked, before we move on to our next beer and our kind of personal ones, is I really like that they also did like the beer passport, and I just wanted to, so like when you go on the blog post, there's also the beer passport for, I think it's St. Louis is where they're based. So it's all the St. Louis based breweries and some incentives and things to do at each of these locations. It's like, go get a beer here and do this, go get a beer there and take a photo
like
of
actions.
That. And it's quite cool, and I really thought that was super cool, and I thought it'd be really cool if we had something like that here, because even if it was like, go to this brewery, like we've got the London passport, which we both had the last 2 years, and didn't use it enough to justify getting it again, because we just didn't go into London enough to justify getting it again.
I think if you live in and around London, like closer to London,
or you're in all the time, like it's great. I just don't go in that much, to be fair, or at least to the areas where it was cool, because it was like some of these places weren't in the main areas, and that was really great. I think it would just be really cool to have a UK one overall, where you had like breweries that were like, maybe you get a discount, but also go and do this thing at this place, get a discount if you do that thing at that place, and get a stamp in the book or something like that. It's just a cool idea, I think. Like, would you be open to trying something like that?
I thought that was really cool, and I was like, ugh. I looked at it and I was like, oh, could we develop our own one of this? And I feel like that's... Oh, good to St. Louis. I did not think that, but that's also a cool idea.
My first thought was, can we go to St. Louis? And then I was like, no, that's a bit too far, isn't it? But then I did have the second idea of you, was like, could we do this? And then I thought, but you'd need the buy-in.
It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, even if you just, without like discounts or anything, but if you like, you'd need to know the different places to pick out, because some of it's like, you know, eat this off the menu or try doing this thing that's specific to that bar. Like you'd need to
go there enough to know as well.
Pick the best fun thing to do there. That's a lot of work that we can't do at this point.
Yeah, I would love to. I absolutely would love to, but the commitment to that is, I don't have the commitment to Sparkle Motion. I just literally, I wish I did. I just don't have the time. I'm there with my my everything's fine emoji at work. Right. Like I don't, I can't be doing that. But that would be cool if you do have a place that is like one of your favorite places that has something like niche to it. Maybe there's a dish, maybe there's a drink you get. That's has to be something that is a regular enough that anyone could go any time of the year and have this particular thing. So it can't be like have this really niche beer that's released once a year. Like it can't be like go to Verdant and have a putty, because it's
not there all year long.
It's not achievable for people. It has to be something that is like a reason to go, but is also achievable. So if you've got any suggestions, maybe send them to us. Maybe we'll start collating them, and that could be really fun. So across the UK, that would be super, super fun. But we just don't have the time and effort to do the legwork ourselves.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's have our next beer, and then we'll talk about our challenges. All right, what do you have next?
So my next one is called Raftman.
Okay.
It is from Unibrow, who are from Quebec in Canada. And I actually picked it up in Paris. But
so that is jarring.
Also, you were talking about one of yours might be out of date. This is out of date. I think it was out of date when I bought it.
Oh no, I've been there though. I've definitely bought ones that I bought that were out of date, but like I bought it knowing they were on like discount, for example.
No, I didn't know it was out of date when I bought it, and I got home and I was putting it on the list, and I was like, oh, that is definitely out of date by like a month.
Would you? This is the question though. Would you have bought it anyways? Like if you knew?
Yeah, it didn't make any difference to me. It's a smoked beer, by the way, so it's probably absolutely fine.
Nice.
And the reason I picked it is because, as I've said in a couple of other episodes, I am trying to try all as many. It won't be all, but as many of the different styles on Untapped as I can. And I haven't yet had a smoked beer, so I was like, clears it off the list because it's out of date. It was out of date when I bought it, and I didn't know. But also, it's a smoked beer, so it checks that one off for me.
Are you saying you haven't had a smoked beer yet this year, or like? Yes. Okay, fine. I was like, hang on a minute. I just was thinking like, shit, because I thought you got your list from last year and all the styles that you didn't have last year.
Yeah.
And I was like,
hang on, let's find smoked beer. So technically, I've actually only checked in 7 smoked beers, because it also depends on how they've been categorized on Untapped.
Oh yeah, that's so irritating. Sometimes it's wrong, and you're like, that's wrong.
Right. So smoked beer. Smoked beer is a category that people could put their beer into. Yeah. And looking at that, in the past, I've checked in 7 different smoked beers over my time of drinking. I've drunk a lot more smoked beer than that. So they've obviously been put in other categories, or I've had the same one over and over again. Also possible.
Also possible.
Also possible. Because I'm pretty sure I've had more than 7 smoked beers. 7 different smoked beers. Anyway, it is a smoked beer. Ta-da! And nice. I also got Unibrow because I had some of theirs when I was in Canada, was on cruise ships. And I was like, ooh, I want to get some more of theirs. And I think it's interesting that like Quebec beer can be found in Paris because, you know, French speaking and all that.
That's exciting. I can't wait for you to say how it tastes. So that'll be good. This will be interesting how I choose my next one, because there could be a really interesting twist to how this turns out. So let's find out.
Okay. Oh, you can roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Here she goes. You should have let me know you can do this. I could have got the sound effects ready.
Oh, no. Hang on. Okay. Like, ooh, we're rolling. 1. So it's not. So what would have made this interesting
Yeah.
is that here I have a smoked brown ale. So that would have made it really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking the smoked brown ale today. What I am drinking is Good Chemistry's Winter Frizz. It's a fruited sour. It's a fruited sour. So hang on.
What fruits are in it?
Cranberry, orange, and there's warming winter spice. So I might choose to use the cranberry in this one.
I would say yes, do that.
Yay! That's exciting. So that's one off my list. The runners up that I could have had a US one, Gentile Brewing Co. It's called Beer is Art. It's a South African Pilsner.
Oh.
Could have had that one. Could have had Wiper and True's Gingerbread Stout.
Nice.
I could have had Austin Street, another American one, Smoked Brown Ale.
Oh.
Or I could have had Trinity Brew Co.'s Learn to Forget Rice Pudding Milk Stout. That's the one that is probably out of date.
That. I drank that just before it went out of date, I think.
I was looking forward to having it. But yeah, basically I've got this like beer fridge that's in the... So I've got like a bigger fridge that's our sort of backup fridge that all the beer goes into. But I've got this small one that's in this room that I used to use as like the podcast fridge. But then when I started shifting stuff to the other bigger fridge, this kind of just became a like, oh, those are there to just kind of drink from, and the stuff that's in there is podcast, like whatever. And then that fridge kind of started to get forgotten about.
Whoopsie.
So I've had a clear out of that today. Well, not today, but this past weekend. And yeah, I found this one in there and I was like, I was really looking forward to having that. So I thought I'd throw it into the lineup for today. But there you have it. There's the picks for today. My second pick for today.
All right, let's go.
I'm excited about this one. Just while we say, so like for me, how I've picked some of these like challenges, I've tried to take the approach of like, we kind of went back and forth on some of this of how we want to do this.
Yeah.
And it's still, we're still not 100% decided. So it will be interesting to see like what kind of feedback we get, if we get sort of like feedback from people. Oh, look at this. This looks nice.
Mine is a lovely like amber colour. It is not very... There's not a lot of strong smoke on it, so...
Be interesting to see how yours tastes.
Taste it. It's got a lovely head.
Mine's
lasting.
Got a nice head on it as well, surprisingly, for something that's got fizz in its name. It's orange, but almost has like kind of like a grapefruity type pink kind of highlight to it.
So I can see that on the camera. Pretty.
It's really hard because like sometimes you say it, but you don't really get to see it on the camera. Yeah. So it's nice that you can actually kind of see that.
All right.
Oh, it's very like, it smells quite orange and like spiced. Yeah, like orange. It smells not quite cranberry sauce, but like that element of like spice and orange and cranberry mixed together. It smells like when you have a nice bit of like winter potpourri in a good way, not in like a... Ooh.
So mine is very lightly smoked. Like the smell is like toasted grain, like, and I'm getting some honey and some sweetness, even a little bit of fruitiness in there, maybe floral.
I don't want to stop smelling mine. I don't want to stop smelling mine because it smells like winter. So much cinnamon. It smells great.
Do you know what this tastes like? What this smells like? It smells like toasted fruit bread.
Interesting.
Oh. Yeah, like if you toasted like a fruity bagel.
One thing that this smelling situation that's happening right now, like it smells so good, and all it makes me think of, it smells like a Christmas shop. Like, you know, when you go into like a specific shop that is meant for Christmas and everything, you have those like the cranberry and the like, literally the cranberry and the cinnamon and the orange, like all those like the smells of winter. It is literally what this smells like. I'm not disappointed. Hilarious. I see how tart it is.
I'm tasting. Here we go.
Ooh. That's interesting. That's nice.
So I think if you've ever had like Schlenkeller, and you're like, oh no, tastes like bacon. Like,
I fucking love
not for me.
Schlenkeller.
Oh yeah, but there are people that are like, no, it's like smoked bacon. I'm not doing it. This is very subtly smoked. Like, it's like tobacco. It's got that, like, if someone opens a packet of fresh tobacco, and it's also almost got that kind of sweetness about it. It tastes like that. It's like honey and that kind of toastiness, tobacco. It's quite dry on the finish, which makes you want to go back more, but it's really interesting flavors. Oh, and I would like no kind of I'm not concerned about it being too old to drink either. Like, it tastes absolutely fine. This is really interesting.
I wonder if like the age of it has changed that flavor at all.
Maybe
like,
it's mellowed
if you
out.
had it, yeah, like
the smokiness.
I'm wondering if it's done that, and if that's
Tell
maybe
me when it was bottled. Oh, it's got one of those weird codes on it, so no.
Oh, I just wish people would just be like, this is when it was bottled, and this is when it's best before. That's all I want. I just want to know.
It is a Belgian-style smoked ale as well.
Do you get those like Belgian-y notes to it?
That might be where the sweetness is coming from, because I wonder if that's a bit kind of estery.
Fair.
From whatever yeast they used. It's lovely. Like, hard recommend on Raftman from Unibrow.
Yeah, I'm really liking this winter fizz. It's very front. It's very tart cranberry up front, so and then it kind of you get massively all those hits of like cloves, like pretty quickly, and then it's like an orange finish. It almost gives like a winterberry type mimosa vibe, like, because there's that orange element to like the back end of it. It does land like a mimosa sip, but like,
do we need to get one and make a beer cocktail out of it?
Probably. I don't know if you can get any more. I'll see if I can get any more the next time I'm in Bristol.
Get me one, please, because I am very jealous that I don't have one.
If they've still got any when I go to Bristol, which they may not, I will grab more, because it will be fun to make we can have it before 11, and then it can be our
beer mimosa.
But yeah, I really enjoy this. Cool. So as we were kind of saying, just as we were pouring the beer, it's really hard. It would be good to get feedback from listeners of what they want to see, because we kind of bounced ideas around. Like, we wanted to make our own challenge list because we thought it'd be really fun. But I think one thing that I know that I've kind of felt like I'd want it to be something that wasn't just limited to a year. I'd really like us to make a set of challenges that we can update every year with new challenges, but like it allows people, no matter when they start listening to us or how they want to get involved with us, like they can play along with it more or less, or they can just see what they can tick off. And I really like, my view is I want it to be stuff that makes somebody try something they wouldn't have tried, or go somewhere they wouldn't have gone, or just make someone do something a little bit more playful than they would have thought to have done on their own, or just lets you revisit something that you really, really like. Even if it's something easy. Like, I want there to be a mix. I want there to be a mix of stuff that's like, I want it to be approachable, like our podcast is. Like, I want it to be stuff that there's challenges that are, for maybe the two of us, super, super easy. But for someone else that's newer into craft beer, maybe that is the challenge for them, is just having that access and exposure to some of these breweries or styles. Maybe it's just not something that's comfortable in their wheelhouse at the moment, so that in itself is a challenge. Whereas to us, we drink across different styles. So I don't know your feeling, I guess, before we actually get into what we kind of suggested and what people have suggested to us. I think for me, I'd quite like it to be something that is not limited to a year, that is something we can build upon. And
I think where we said, like, obviously the Katie's Beer School one this year seems harder because it is building on that one. But if this is the first time you found it, it might feel intimidating to you. So I think having something where you can be like, and maybe we like rank them in like, beginner, intermediate, advanced ones, and you can pick and choose which sections you get them from. And like I said before, I think our criteria is it's got to be fun. It's got to be achievable. Like, let's get into SMART goals. It's got to be achievable. Like, if it's too difficult, it's not going to be fun and you're not going to be able to complete it. So that's no good. And it's got to expand your drinking horizons. And I sat and thought about some today, and I kind of thought back to when I was first learning about beer, and like the things that I did to kind of expand my drinking horizons. And I've kind of come up with some based on that, and the things that can help you to, learn a little bit more about beer if you're open to doing that.
Yeah, I think for me, like what I'd really love to do, and I know we talked about this, and I haven't actually got the chance to like sit down and do anything with it, but I'd really love to do. So, I kept getting advertised this book called the Rebel, like is the Rebel Badge book for like the Rebel girls, and it's based, I guess, like the person that's created it is based in Berkshire, which I didn't even know, but it's really cool. You get these books, and it's like so it's the Rebel Badge book, and you get this book which has all these like different challenges and prompts in it, and a journal for you to like note down all the things that you've done and your monthly logs, and it's all the different badges, and it's basically like scout badges. So you get like the stickers on, if you're watching the video you can see it, you get these stickers. I don't want to show too much of it because I feel like people should have to go check it out, but they look like little like Girl Guide / Girl Scout badges, and it's super super cool. And then like when you've done one of the activities, it's like, oh cool, I've got that badge now, and you've like done it. And I just thought, like, I love that idea so much anyways, that I thought it'd be really cool if we did something that was more like we did like badges or something like that. And for me, it would be, my thought is we could do some challenges that were in terms of like what you said about building upon and having different like levels. It could be that some of them are, start off with like when you like you're considered the base level when you've hit X amount, and then you get to like a level 2, and then a level 3, and then a level 4, and that's kind of like as you go on in the years, like you could be like, cool, let's say you go up to 6 levels, and 6 levels is like the max of what we're going to, and so maybe it's try this many different styles, and that's level 1, and then level 2 is like now try this many styles, and build on from that. And I just thought that's something that would be really cool, because you could be like, oh, I've managed to get to this level so far. And for me, that's the idea. I mean, I'd have to sit down and be able to like come up with fun names and do all that, which I wanted to have done by this point, and I just haven't had a time. But I don't know, is that something that people would think would be cool to do something like that? Because I just thought it'd be really really cool for us to like have this thing that we've built, and we kind of treat it like, cool, it's kind of like that book, it's inspiration from that book, but it's also like meets Untapped. It's kind of like a physical Untapped challenge for people that just love feeling that accomplishment of like, I've done a thing and I've got a badge for it, or I've got a sticker for it, or whatever. I just thought, even if it's just like a digital badge of like, cool, I've done a thing, here's a digital badge for it, and then you can like share it. I thought that would be really fun. It gamifies some of this stuff to make it even more interesting than it already is. So if that's something that people would think would be interesting, let us know. I mean, I'll still probably try to work on it in the background, but I think we can still build out a pretty good list. But yeah, you're right. These need to be achievable, but sometimes I think they need to be a stretch achievable. For the person that's new in their journey, maybe that's just not them. But this is why we don't want it to be time fixed. We want it to be however long it takes, because however long it takes you to get there, we still want it to be motivating for people who maybe feel like they've done so many things. Maybe when you've done that cycle of beer drinking and you find yourself back at lager, it has to still be fun and exciting and interesting for you as well, I think. I did have some sent in. Let me just check to see if anyone sent any new ones in, because I did post quite late in the day today. I'm sure it will happen is the second we're done with this.
Yeah.
I'll get like more that have come in. Yeah. But I did have a few that were sent in. So before we actually get into ours, I can say that the handful that I had sent in last time. So Harmon Brewing sent in review someone's homebrew. Because they'd made homebrew, and they're like, you should review someone's homebrew. You could try my homebrew. I think that would be cool. Like, I feel like we could have a different set of challenges where like maybe we come up with a list of challenges for us that are just like fun podcast challenges.
Yeah.
Not like a list for everyone to participate together. So like, I feel like that is something that we could do as like between us. That would be fun to try somebody else's homebrew that's not yours. It isn't something that I've attempted to make but haven't done yet. But I don't know, thoughts. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like that one. I might have something in the fridge that we can use for just such a thing.
Excellent. I really liked this next one. So Alex from Full Circle submitted, get drunk on only smoked beers. And I love that. So I'd probably have to amend it in the sense of like I don't want it to have to be like get drunk, because I feel like it would be potentially quite hard. Like I feel like I'd want to change that to do a session consisting of only smoked beers. Because drink responsibly and all that. But I think that it would be way more fun for it to be like do a session that is only smoked beers. I'm happy to do that challenge, and I feel like that's one that other people could play along with.
Yeah, definitely, because everyone can pick different smoked beers. Like I said, this one that I'm drinking right now is less smoked than say your Schlenkeller, which is like drinking bacon. Like there are different levels of smoke as well. So
nice.
Definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, that one could be one that we throw on the list as well. So all these, we're just going to spitball these ideas, and then at the end of the episode, hopefully, when you listen to it, you give us what you think about them, and feel free to throw in more ideas at us, and we'll comprise something shortly. But that's definitely going on the list, I think. So obviously, I liked this next one because I feel like this fits in my wheelhouse of things that I do. But I had two different people, so considering _craft and Hops plus Koch, like both suggested drink the whole alphabet with beer names. So I clarified, or I asked the question of like, does it have to be brewery names or is it beer specific names? And I think what I got to in the end was that maybe it's just beer names to start and you work A through Z. Yeah. And then you go back through with brewery. Once you finish that, in order to be like the alphabet master, you have to have done it with breweries. And there's got to be like photos. I feel like this kind of stuff is like you've got to do photos of it.
Yeah. There's got to be evidence. You got to evidence it.
Yeah.
You can't say, I had a beer that started with Z. It was called this. Like I want to see. I need to see that evidence.
If we need the receipts, we need the receipts. But that's the thing. Is like I guess if we're gonna make these like digital badges, like you could probably just take it anyways. But you'll be letting yourself down.
Yeah.
Because you'll know you didn't do it. And I think for me, if I win, I never cheat on stuff, because it's like, if I win, I want to win fair and square. Yeah. I don't want to win because I cheated. That's not fun.
The fun of it is that you actually did it. It's the experience as well. Yeah. We want you to have that experience.
So that's cool. I feel like that one should be in. That should be like a 2 level one, level 1 and level 2. Cool. Right. I've got some that are proposed shared challenges.
Okay.
That I've just come up with. So, I mean, all of them, I guess, are shared challenges. So maybe let's go through. Do you want to say some of yours? Say some of mine?
Yeah, I can say some of mine if you'd like. I just kind of came up with some of these. What someone did say to me that we should have something around non-alcoholic beers. Hard agree. So
I like that.
I feel like it should be something like around, like you've got to try like either several styles or several different non-alcoholic breweries. So maybe you've got to try like 3 or 5 non-alcoholic breweries, or maybe you've got to try a pale or a pale / IPA, a stout and a sour non-alcoholic beer.
I like that. I think that's definitely. I like the idea of having 2 separate ones as well, where it's like
we could do 2 separate ones.
Styles, like one that's style based. I actually did think of this because I just had I had one last night that was non-alcoholic, and I was like, oh, that could be a really, really good one to have. Because I think I made a note down that's like try different. I went style wise.
There's so many, like you're getting so much better non-alcoholic beer out there now. There are more non-alcoholic breweries that are just doing non-alcoholic beer, and I think we probably need to clarify whether it's breweries that are just doing low and no, or whether it can be a brewery that has done a non-alcoholic beer, low alcoholic beer. Because there are some breweries that are not specifically non-alcoholic that are making banging non-alcoholic beers, and there are specific breweries that are non-alcoholic. So,
okay, well, I'll note down all of those. So I've noted down try several different styles of non-alcoholic beer or low alcohol beer. Try different non-alcoholic specific or low alcohol breweries, and I will also note down now. Try a non-alcoholic. Maybe let's try a non-alcoholic / low alcoholic beer from alcoholic breweries.
Yeah.
That could be cool, because then that also encourages you of like, if you're putting in an order with this brewery, maybe this brewery normally does like big bang and stouts, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get all the alcohol out of these ones. Maybe you also kind of go, but also let me throw in a non-alcoholic one that you wouldn't normally do. So that could be cool, seeing how many different non-alcoholic ranges you can do.
The very first one that I thought of today when I was making my notes was drink a beer from its branded glass.
So I love that so much.
Right. But I think it's got to be like, I think we need to clarify, because obviously you could be at a brewery and drink one of their beers out of one of their branded glasses. I think it needs to be a beer and the glass is branded to that specific beer.
Disagree, because I think that would be really hard to do, because how many times do you have a specific beer branded on a glass?
Belgian beers.
Yeah, but like, I feel like there's probably not that, like, that's so niche. So that is obviously a stretch goal. So maybe it's kind of like,
goal, right?
I feel like that could be a stretch goal. I feel like the base level one should be drink a beer from a brewery branded glass, but not at the brewery. It has to be outside of the brewery.
And it has to have their beer in it.
Yeah, their beer in their glass, not at the brewery or anything owned by that brewery.
I feel like you could get away with this really easy by being like, I had a Guinness.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's...
I feel like it can't be Guinness.
It cannot be one of like...
Right.
Because I mean, I would... This is, I guess, the problem is like, do we go, is that craft? Is that not craft? Like, that is what makes it really difficult.
I don't think it's got to be, I don't think it needs to be craft. This is the thing. Like, let's not confine ourselves to things. Because...
No, but I was trying to figure out a way to phrase it to make it that it's like what we're envisioning.
Like, make it harder on yourself than Guinness, people. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can do it, but you know that you didn't earn that badge.
Right. You know you didn't put the real effort in. Like,
well, maybe we have to do it. Maybe we have to do it, like, again, as that level of, like, have X amount. Maybe we need different levels. Like, level 1 is have 5 different beers in their correct brewery glassware, some in an establishment not owned by that brewery. And then the next level up is, like, have 5 beers in a specific drink. Like the specific drink branded glass, but again, not at their establishment. All right, let's go with that. I'm noting that one down now.
Okay. And like I said, I was thinking about things that I did when I was kind of learning about beer to expand my horizons. I need to look at my notes, but like there are some beer styles that are similar that you could drink side by side and be like, you know, like drink an oatmeal stout and a dry Irish stout, so you can compare the difference. Like beer styles that are similar, but so that you can taste the difference because you're trying them side by side. So I think we could do like some levels based on that, because that's really
cool. All right, I'll make a note on that one. Let us know, guys, if that seems like something that'll be fun, a little fun educational one.
I wanted to do something with beer styles because it's a great way of expanding your palate. Maybe try X number of beer styles from from like other countries than your own.
So I did have, I kind of had one. So to go back to the glassware one, just while we're on that topic, I had a similar one where it was like drink a beer from like. My thought process was something along the lines of like have a drink from different glass styles, and it can't be like it could either be ones that you have in your house, but actually I think the challenge is kind of like, I think the base level is from as many different glass styles as you can wherever, and then the next level up is like the champion level is like if you've managed to have X amount of different ones not at your house,
right?
So I feel like the at your house would be easy. I think it's the out in the wild is what makes it fun and exciting, is like get X amount of different. I think we could do levels based on that. That could be fun. Because it just encourages people to go out as well and like order things that maybe have a different glass than what you'd normally order, just to get something slightly different. So that's what I thought of for that. And for the other countries one, I also had drink a bit, like I had drink a beer from however many different countries, or even from another continent, and maybe like a level up from that is like if you get a beer from, if you manage to drink a beer from every continent minus maybe like one, that could be its own separate little world traveler award or something like that.
I think you got to be specific there though, because mine was specifically beer styles from that country rather than just a beer, because you know breweries in France will make American IPAs.
Yeah, that's true. We could have different layers to that as well.
Exactly, you can have different layers to that as well.
Yeah, so I think that's probably worthwhile exploring different levels for that.
Yeah.
See what people think about that. I also had like specifically, it could be like have a beer from each of the 50 different states.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because that would be like once you tick off, you could have a little map, tick off all the little different states. That would be fun. Yeah. I think that's all the ones I had that match those ones. I've got different ones, but I did have drink a set amount of different beer styles. So I did have different beer styles overall, not necessarily tied to a country.
So continuing with beer styles, try a beer style that you have checked in the least, or if you don't do Untapped, then that you think that you've tried the least. So that could be quite difficult.
That could be difficult for sure. Star Wars, I did drink like a single hopped beer, so like we could do like however many different single hopped beers, like that could go in increments. So that could be fun. Could be fun to challenge yourself to try different single hop beers.
Good for working out how you pick up those hops in beer. Like obviously mixing it with different things makes a difference, but it like, you know, helps you calibrate your palate. That's always good.
Definitely. I went back as well to, I don't know if I just said it, but I went back to like the breweries thing as well. Like, so I already had like try different breweries, like however, and I thought we could do it in levels as well. I thought like different levels for breweries would be fun and just encourages you to go exploring more different breweries, really.
Yeah.
Can I tell you one that I put in that's just a bit of fun?
Yeah.
I feel like it's niche to us, but I put accidentally wearing matching shirts with your beer bud.
That's 100%.
Or it could just be find somebody that's wearing a matching shirt to you on like not on purpose, like who have you coordinated with accidentally.
I love
that. I think that is. I was just like the amount of times that we've accidentally
all the time.
Yeah, so I thought that's a bit of fun. I also thought we could do something along the lines of like drink a beer with different. Like the labels have different criteria. Like we could just pull out like random topics. Like we could have a topic for every month if we wanted. And we could be like, in January is winter. Let's go with a nice little winter fox.
Yes, I love this.
And every year we could add new words to this list. That would be fun.
Yes, and there's while I'm doing my reading, I saw someone's challenge was to read the rainbow. So they read so it's the cover colour makes up the rainbow. You could drink the rainbow.
It's like Skittles.
Drink the rainbow from the beer labels. Maybe even from the beers themselves.
I was gonna say like the style, like the physical beers.
You could do both. Then you got to drink a blue beer.
That would be cool because that would also challenge people to have things that you know that they would lose their minds about. Like some people would absolutely be like, "No, I cannot. I simply cannot have this."
Right, that's a fun one.
That is a fun one. Guys. That's added. I like that one. 100% added. Bit of fun, that one. I thought also like we could do a homebrew a beer, like to challenge people to do their own homebrew as well. Yep. So homebrew beer, we could even do it like if you wanted to level it, it could be like your base level is just brew a home beer, like a homebrew beer, full stop. And then the next level up could be like try 3 different styles or 4 different styles or whatever. I thought like the penultimate one that would be really cool would be like homebrew a historic beer style.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to Girly Drinks and like some of the stuff that they were like historically back in the day. I'm like, I wonder if we could do that.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna save that chat for when we actually talk about that book. But like, part of me was like, could you brew the style now? Like, is that achievable, or would it?
I mean, you could make it. Will it taste good?
No, probably not. But I just thought
questionable.
I thought that could be fun, like trying to homebrew a historic style in some format. Speaking about books, I also had read at least 4 beer themed books because we're in no shortage of beer books. And I would actually say beer themed books doesn't have to be limited to specifically about beer itself. I feel like you could have a theme where it is literally just like it takes place. It's a barmaid or something like that. Like, you know, it's a publican
or something.
Or even a cookbook that's cooking with beer. I feel like as long as you've kind of looked like you've gone through the beer themed book. I feel like that would be cool. We could have different levels to that. That could be quite interesting, fun, and it encourages people to get out there and read, and we like reading. So
going back to historical things, I also wrote drink a historical beer style or drink a historical beer style from another country.
Ooh, that's cool. I like that.
Right. That feels like an advanced one.
Yeah, but that's it. It's like we can have the different levels, and that would be pretty cool. I did do beer cocktails on mine as well, to be fair. So I did beer cocktails, and I kind of was just like jotting down notes of just like how I could make it work. And I thought it could be like try a set amount of different cocktails, or try cocktails with X amount of different style, like do 5 different styles of beer utilized in a cocktail, or different style cocktails. There's lots of ways that you can kind of cut that one that I thought would be pretty fun to play along with, because I think trying beer cocktails is just pretty fun. So
yeah, I also said find a beer made with a heritage malt.
Oh, I like yours. You've come in with the super good like educational ones.
Well, because it's the things that I'm like, when I was trying to try different beers and find out different things, I was like, what things did I go and look for? And I went and looked for single hop beers, and I went and looked for beers with interesting malts in them, and I went and looked for different beer styles. And these are all the things that I did just personally to try and learn different things about beer. Like, it's fun.
It is fun.
For a beer geek, this is fun. Like, it's not for everyone, but
so I've got, in terms of like, we were talking about hobbies a minute ago, I had pair a drink with a hobby of your choosing as well. And
yes,
so I thought, like,
I was going to say that.
you could be doing it as very much like we could do that layered as well, of like however many different pairings you do is a different level, or however many different hobbies you do is a different levels.
Pair it with books, pair it with movies, pair it with tarot cards like I'm doing.
I've paired with shoes before.
Games, shoes,
I've paired it with shoes. Before. I did a whole outfit, like a matching shoes, dress, beer. That's what I did back in the day.
And like Pints
people
and
found
Panels
that interesting.
Has it where
they did American
with
football,
different cuisines,
league,
football teams. I still want to pair different beers with Buffy characters.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, we could do something. That would be fun. Doing something like just pairings in general. So I think like hobby or interest.
Off the top of my head, Angel is definitely an Irish red ale.
Okay. I want to know. I kind of have additional. Why? Like, what's your? Because
he's
logic?
Irish. Angel's
yeah, but is that solely your logic behind it? Is you're just like, well, it's that one,
and it's Irish red, and he's a vampire.
I was like expecting you to like whip out something about like something to do with like the history behind it, or like a tasting note or something. And you were just like Irish red. He's Irish and he's a vampire, so it's red.
I was like, bam! This is what I want to put Irish red with Angel. Done. He was the simplest one. I feel like Buffy is like American IPA.
Why?
Don't know. She just feels like an American IPA to me.
I don't have any additional questions there. There was
Sanders an American light lager. Oh,
he's a PBR.
he's a PBR.
No, he's not a PBR. No, he's not a PBR. He's not. No, you're right. He's not a PBR.
He's a Bud Light at best.
Yeah, he's a Bud. Yeah, I take that back. He's absolutely. I wouldn't even say a Bud Light. Like, he's just a full-blown Budweiser. Not even a Bud Light.
I feel like Giles is an oatmeal stout. or a best bitter. But I can't decide what Spike is.
Yeah, because that's the most important one to you.
So hard. It's so hard. I can't decide.
Flanders red.
Ooh. No, I think that's Drusilla. No, I think that's Drusilla. I think Drusilla's a Flanders red.
Classy but sassy.
Yeah. And a little bit crazy. A little bit cray-cray. She a Flanders red.
Excellent tasting notes. I love that. What's really funny as well, so I scrolled down my list as well a bit, and I have a separate section where it was just like, because I started doing proposed shared challenges for us, separate to like when I had people write into us, or when I was brainstorming overall things that we could use that people could play along with. And some of the ones that you named, so I had have a beer served in at least 6 different glass styles outside of somebody's house, and a plastic cup doesn't count. So I like that.
Caveat.
So that's like maybe
Brilliant.
I'll work that into the one I've already suggested. I had try a beer style that's completely new to you. Hilariously, I had that written down, which I completely forgot that I wrote down. I had drink at least 6 different varieties of lager, and that needs to be found on the label, just not just what you think it is.
Not
because
just,
a lot
not
of times,
just
as we were
lager.
talking about on Untapped, a lot of times it's like oh, here's what it is on Untapped, but like it's classified wrong, or like on the label, it doesn't really say. It will just be like lager, and then you're like, but what kind of lager? And you have to use like hints and then Untapped and everything else. I think that would have to be like defined on, and we could do that for different styles where there's a few different types of like IPAs. We could do it with IPAs.
So many different IPAs, man. Do you know what? I was looking through the styles. I've never had a brown IPA.
I don't know if I have either, actually, now that you say that.
So I'm like, challenge to myself this year, drink a brown IPA.
I mean, yeah, now I'm kind of wanting that because I'm confused. Gotta
find one first.
Yeah, anyway. I don't think I've even heard of that. You'll like this one. You'll like this one. I had try a beer served in an unconventional way.
That's good.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, that's really fun.
We could caveat this as well, where it's like when it's something that's a singular, we could do this within a 12-month period. So that way we're not limiting ourselves, but just every year you can try a new one.
Yeah.
And that's a bit exciting. Yeah, I said drink one beer from breweries based 6 out of 7 continents. Literally some of the ones that I had listed above, I had already listed as well. Complete 4 different books with a beery theme. Support at least one brewery a month was one that I had. Like, and that could be support anyway. I thought that would be quite good. Visit a new brewery once every quarter, which is I think how I got to that number of like try 4. Like that's how I shifted from like challenges for us to like how we would make this fun for people to play along with, really, and how they could use it year after year. What I did do is, like you said, I make a full 3-course meal using beer as an ingredient in each course. So I thought like this is the challenge, and that it always a 3-course meal in one go, using a beer as an ingredient for each of them. So I thought that was like harder than just kind of going, I did a appetizer one day, a main, and then a pud another day. So that was fun. I did try a beer from at least one CBA award winner, one Camera award winner, one Scottish Beer award winner, and one World Beer Awards winner for 2024. But that's obviously a specific year, but that could be for the current year.
You can change the year,
and then the last one I had was get a flight without duplicating a beer style.
That's
which
fun.
I wrote that before actually reading the other one, which was a different colour. And I was like, wow.
So I've got a couple more.
Okay.
So one, and a couple of these are like maybe like to help you write your notes on things. So I was like, try an ale, a lager, and a spontaneously fermented beer, and compare your feelings about them.
Oh, I like that.
And then I did drink the beer that got you into beer, and write about how it makes you feel now.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Now, the thing with that is, if someone's so the beer that got somebody into beer doesn't exist anymore, you got to kind of finagle that. So it can be like one of the beers that you started with. Drink it now and say how you feel about it now. And I also said, I think this is my last.
I really like that one a lot, actually, because that serves as a writing prompt as well.
Writing prompt, and it's just like your palate changes, your feelings towards beers changes. Like I've been. I don't know if we said this the last time, but I was telling Tori about it the other day that I'm moving all of my notes over from Evernote into Google Keep, and it's been really interesting going back through my old notes and reading things. And I was like, there's a couple I was like, oh, I wonder if I drank that now, whether my feelings about that would be the same, because I've got a clearer understanding of that beer style and what it should taste like, and my palate's changed, and like I've trained my palate to recognize different things since I had that however many years ago. Like, so I think that'd be really interesting just to revisit some things. And then the last one I think I've got written down is drink 5 beers that use different adjuncts.
Oh, that's cool. I like that one.
Such as chocolate, marshmallow, fruit, cake, etc. I could only think of sweet things. So I sat there and I'm like, why can't I think of anything savoury in a beer? But yeah, like adjuncts.
I had one the other day from Cigar. I think it was Cigar City, actually.
Cigar City.
And they had one that used graham crackers. It was so good. It just tasted like, so it was like super fruity. It was like pineapple, and I thought it was going to be super pineapple-y. It was mega graham crackery. I was like, oh my god, this is so sweet.
Cigar City makes such good beers. Maduro Brown is like one of my favourite beers. And then that made me reminded me that I also thought of and didn't write down. Choose a beer style, like choose a BJCP beer style that interests you, and drink one of the classic examples.
I like that. Cool. I've written that down. I quite like that, yeah. Or like drinking like what is known as like trying to tick off beers that are like famous in, you know, known worldwide as being like amazing beers or whatever. Like we can find some standard, and that would be pretty cool to have something like that, like to go drink your way through this, or, you know, drink your way through what's rated in this book or that experience or that list. That could be cool. I've also just written down as well potentially one for write tasting notes for one beer a month, just to challenge yourself to actually sit there and be like, what am I tasting from this? Like just once a month to sit down with one beer and try to make a tasting note of that, which can then be built upon the compare that in future years, compare that to something that you're revisiting now. So, and I guess what we could do with that compare a beer you drank previously, revisiting now, if you can't find that same one, maybe it's like a similar style. Yeah.
See if you still feel the same about it.
Yeah. Cool. I think we've got some really good ideas to start with. So yeah, okay. I think part of it is we're not going to have this run like January to December. This is going to be something that for us, we really want to keep up with every year. So like, we'll probably look to top this up at the end of the year episode or like a beginning of the year episode.
Yeah.
But I think that's just going to be building upon what we create, and really we just want people to play along with us. So like if there's anything that you're really passionate about or you think is just too hard or you're not interested in or whatever, like let us know. And if there's anything that you're like, oh my god, you're missing this really obvious super easy cool one,
did we miss?
Yeah, like I thought something that's cool is doing maybe even some type of challenge of like, I like the idea of like completing some of these challenges and sharing photos from these challenges as well. Like I know more views on Craft Brews did like a bingo thing where it was like, do all these, take a photo and do this to try to get bingo and share it on Instagram. Or you had like a Hoppy Place did a triannuary where it was like a little fun try all these different beer styles and like get to the end of the course.
So I did think of that, and I was like, we need a hashtag for this, because then we can follow the hashtag, and anybody that shares something with the hashtag and completes them, we can share them.
Okay. What hashtag? Which hashtag do you come up with?
I came up with 2 different ones, but I think they're long. So
hit me with it.
It requires workshopping. Okay, so this was only like literally first.
I just want to say this is the first thing I've heard of this. I haven't even made it on to thinking about hashtags yet.
Yeah,
so like I haven't even got these creative juices flowing yet.
So I was like, Women's Brew Beer Challenge feels really long, can potentially be spelt wrong. So that's too long. Or I was like, AWB Beer Challenge.
Okay, that could work. Well, if anyone's got any better suggestions of what you think is like we're missing a trick here, look, let me sleep on it. Let me get these creative juices flowing. I'm sure I can come up with something that will, you know, we need something punchy, we need something good, we need something fun.
Because then, if people use the hashtag, and you know they tag a Women's Brew in it, we can share it on my channel, your channel, and the Women's Brew channel.
Yeah, it's exciting. Well, let us know your ideas. Come to us, let us know things that you think that you want to see, challenges that you want to challenge us specifically with, because I think like obviously we've got a good list of things that people can like play along with, and we have a handful of things that probably have to be, you know, us specific, but a lot of them, the majority of these are all like let's play along. But if you want to actually challenge us really specifically to do something, like we love a good challenge. I love gamifying stuff. I love pushing boundaries on things and getting myself to try new things. Like with, you know, when I have a purpose to do it, it makes it even more fun to justify doing it. So I think let us know. Come to us on Instagram. We might as well do our plugs now. So we are Women's Brew on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X. We're everywhere. We're all on the platforms. Obviously, you've listened to us now, so you know that. But write into us. You can email us to awomensbrewpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know, like, all of your challenge ideas, either personal challenges or ones that you want to play along with. We want to do stuff that you want to do that is fun for you as well. And then we can, meet up and do these things together even. Who knows? Some of this will be super, super fun. We can all wear matching shirts, which is my nightmare. But like we can all accidentally wear our matching shirts to the same place and I'll be mortified, but we can do it.
This is just us edging towards getting merch, isn't it?
God, oh yeah. I have been told if we got merch, people would buy it, so we'll see. But yeah, let us know. Would you buy merch? Stickers, anything. But yeah, no, definitely let us know. And if you can think of a fun, punchy hashtag, definitely put that in there as well.
Mine are not great.
And if you've got some amazing ideas as well and like challenges that you'd want to see for breweries, like we'd love to start getting together our own challenge list for like, go to this brewery tap room and do this thing, try this beer, go to this area and take a photo. Like, we want to do that. We would love to organize that. We just don't have the physical power to put it all together and do the research ourselves. So we can do some of them, but we're definitely relying on your intel from your favorite places. So let us know and maybe we'll get a list together for you. Joe, if people want to follow you and your personal challenges this year, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm definitely posting more things that I'm working on this year, like reading and tarot and journaling and things like that, as well as a little bit of beer education. So you can come and see that on my beer school, which is Love Beer Learning, and we are on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok and Pinterest, but you'll probably just find me on Instagram. I'm considering closing some of the other ones down because it's just stress and I feel like
don't need that negativity stress, in your life.
Don't need that negativity in my life. Just do what you enjoy, people. Pick the ones that you enjoy. Do that. But you will find me at my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Some of the blogs I'm going to write are going to be on there. Maybe we'll put this, once we've got our challenge up, it'll probably be on there. So you can come find us there. Or you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. Tell me some good hashtags, because mine was rubbish. And Tori, if they want to tell you things, where can they get hold of you?
Yeah, you can come tell me all the things. I don't really have anything specific at the moment because I just don't. I don't know. Just come talk to me. Just come talk to me about anything, everything, challenges. If you want to go recommend me movies, because as we talked about on the last one, I've got a big old bucket. It's over there now. I've had to upgrade. I've had to upgrade from the cup to the bucket. It is like this proper bucket. And the movies,
all of those this year.
The movies keep coming in. We won't probably watch it all in the year, but like we'll definitely. Our plan is that we will utilize this over the next however long it takes us to go through all these films, and I intend on finding one specifically we haven't watched. I've just literally got a new suggestion today, so that's going in the bucket as well. Let us know. We just try not to duplicate it. It might be something I've watched already, or you might try to pick something super niche. You might just want to troll me. I don't know, but they all get added in as long as it's not already been added in.
Or porn.
Or I think I said overt porn. Yeah. If it's overt, like if there's a good storyline, if there's a really good plot,
maybe
like some weird sexy door situation, like maybe I don't know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't want overt porn. Yeah. that's where I draw the line. That's awkward for everyone. There's not much I can pair with that. But yeah, you can recommend that to me. You can find me on Instagram, adventures_in_optimism, or on email at adventuresinoptimism@gmail.com. So yeah, come find me. I'm hoping that some of this will prompt me to start writing again. I'm trying to get back in a place where I can have that mind, the headspace to be able to sit down and do some writing, but it's not gone well so far in January. But maybe from February onward, that's a challenge in itself. It's been challenging, but I'm up for the challenge. So yeah, come talk to me, come talk to both of us, and yeah, come listen to us and play along with us. So on that note, Joe,
here's to completing challenges.
Yeah. Cheers.